Now, the 2024 National Senior Certificate results were finally announced yesterday by the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwarube. The country achieved the highest ever pass rate, increasing from 82.9% in 2023 to 87.3% in 2024. Now, to take a look at, what's to be expected, and especially to perhaps try and pass on some advice to the class of 2024, we take a look back at learners who achieved a great matric results in their senior school year and what has happened subsequently. And we joined this morning here in studio by Botshelo Madonsela, who is a matric class of 2021 student and currently studying medical sciences at the University of Pretoria. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
So first off, it's recent enough for you to remember exactly what you went through on this day after you wrote your matric exam.
Definitely. I remember being very anxious on the day, but my mom was very supportive. She was like, you know what, you did your best. Whatever outcome you may come out with, just know that I'm proud nonetheless and you've done your best.
And then, of course, you actually do have a sense of how well you did or how poorly you did. But still, that anticipation, the anxiety to wait for those final results, how did you cope with that?
So, just to take you back, during my matric year, I did struggle a little bit with academics. I matriculated in 2021, so obviously my grade 11 year was impacted by COVID.
Yeah.
So, and in grade 11, you learn a lot of the basics that you need in matric. And when matric came, I realized that I don't know all of the basics that I need in order to tackle the harder questions that we are posed with. So, and that's when I took it upon myself, and my mom was also advising me and said, perhaps you need to get tutors to help you with subjects like physical sciences and mathematics. And that's when I approached Mr. Mlugisi, who helped me with physical sciences as well as mathematics. And by God's grace, I was able to matriculate with 6 distinctions.
You know, Botshelo, I'm glad you raised the grade 11 issue, because there's a lot of emphasis on the final year, your grade 12 year. But as you said, it is actually in grade 11 where you lay that foundation very firmly so for your grade 12 results. And in terms of you were in a class that obviously had to deal with the disruption that was brought about by COVID.
Yes.
So how did you cope with that? Because that was an adjustment in itself.
It definitely was an adjustment. Our teachers were also not used to going more digitally. We had to adjust to now having classrooms online. And what was a struggle for me was I'm somebody that it takes time for me to understand certain concepts. So I need the teachers to explain concepts to me. So with COVID and being online, the teachers weren't always available, because obviously you can just imagine it's a huge influx of learners, not only from my grade, but other grades as well, and they're trying to attend to them. So it was that. So I used YouTube a lot in areas where I felt like I was struggling or couldn't get help a lot from the teachers at school. I used YouTube to supplement it, and it worked out well.
So in your matric year, as you say, you were a bit anxious about not quite being prepared as much as you would have liked to be, given the disruption that took place in grade 11. So when you got to that stage where you're now really feeling anxious, because at that point, you already knew what you wanted to study.
I did, yes.
And what did you want to study?
I wanted to study medicine, MBCHB.
So you knew that you needed to be right at the top.
Exactly, yes, I did. And I think going into matric from grade 11, I knew my marks were not as high as they needed to be. So I knew that I need to be selfish this year. I need to focus on my academics and try to push myself as far as I possibly can.
And we tend not to focus so much on the psychology of things in matric. Because if you know that you want to study medicine, and as we said, you're going to have to be one of the top achievers
yes.
in order to get in, the pressure that comes with that. Talk to me about the conversation that Botshelo was having with herself, especially in the moments where you were doubtful.
So I used to have panic attacks. I actually had panic attacks during my June and prelim exam while I was writing my physical sciences paper. And I remember coming back home and telling my mom and saying, I don't know why I'm so anxious. You know, I know I've prepared, I know I've worked hard, but for some reason I get panic attacks. So my mom advised me and said, okay, maybe you need to isolate yourself a little bit from the crowd, just zone in on what you want to do. And I also focused on the fact that it's my journey. I don't need to compare myself to anyone else. And because I want so much more, I know that I need to take out a lot of work and I need to put in a lot of work in what I need to achieve.
And obviously you had the parental support to help you to achieve, along with, I would imagine, the teachers at your school. But did you ultimately receive the results that you needed?
My goal was to get 5 distinctions. And somehow I got 6 distinctions, which I was very pleased. I went from being the 6th top student in my grade to now being the 3rd highest student in my grade. So I was very grateful to God also.
Oh, that was fabulous. So all of that nervous energy was obviously channeled in the right direction.
Definitely.
So now you're applying to tertiary institutions. Did you get into your preferred institution?
Yes, I did get into the University of Pretoria. However, I didn't get into medicine straight away from Matric. So the University of Pretoria...
So hold up. So
okay.
you had 6 distinctions and
yes.
you still didn't get in.
I still didn't get in.
And this is what we are talking about, saying that you know that if you want to get into medicine, you're going to have to be right at the top.
That's true. That's true. So the University of Pretoria offered a program whereby for 1 semester you need to do biological sciences, BSc Biological Sciences. And if you are in the top 70 of over 500 applicants, then you are chosen to study medicine in the 2nd semester going forward. And fortunately, I was able to work hard and I was part of the top 70 out of 500 and over applicants.
And how's it going now?
It's going very well. Medicine is a very sacred field. You really need to have a passion for it. My name actually means life.
Life.
Botshelo means life. And growing up, I always wanted to incorporate my name into what I do, and I'm very fortunate that I'm able to do it now.
So just a quick one, your advice to the class of 2024.
Don't be disheartened. If something doesn't work out in the first try, just take a step back, try and find maybe other avenues. And not all setbacks are just total rejections. Maybe it's setting you to do something more different where you're actually supposed to go. So, but congratulations to everyone. Regardless of the outcome, I know how hard you worked.
Botshelo, thank you so much. And her name means life, and Botshelo Madonsela breathing life into the class of 2024 and of course the class of 2025, who can take notes from what she said and learn from her experiences, and taking us back to when she passed her national examination in 2021. We need to take a quick break.